is Holly Douglas, and I work for Motive Media. I'm in strategic development at Motive Media. So really what I do is I work with our owner, directly with our owner, president, and creative director to determine how the business will grow, how we will grow our team, and the best way to go about expanding our profits and our revenue. And a lot of that entails, there's some HR involved, and then there's also, the sales and marketing side of it as well. We're a small business, so I actually wear a lot of hats at the company. It's hard to sort of nail down exactly what it is that I do in one little sentence, but that's basically the overall of it. So Motive Media, we are a large format digital imaging company. So we produce very large imaging for things, applications like vehicle wraps, transport trailer wraps, promotional graphics. We do interior wall murals and graphics and spaces. We like to take, very boring environment, typical office environment, and really bring it to life and give it some personality and make it a more sort of inspiring place to work for the people that are there. So that's what we do in a nutshell. A lot of graphic design work, but mostly large format. We print really, really big images and put them on really big things. And so before we started using HR Covered, it was difficult. It was really difficult to navigate the human resources aspect of our business. So being a really small business, we were really straddling the line between, between just sort of getting by and also doing what you're supposed to do in a business to make sure that, you're following all of the regulations and all of that, and also just making sure that our contracts were, tight and all of that. And so before we started using HR Covered, we would use lawyers. We had an employment lawyer that we would engage probably more often than we really needed to, but we were always very conscious of making sure and trying to protect ourselves as a business, but also trying to ensure that our employees are, in an environment that is, suitable. And so it was really, I have a couple of friends in HR, so I would ask them a lot of questions. I sort of stumbled into managing the HR of the business. That was never, I'm not trained in that. That's never been something that I necessarily really wanted to do, but it just became a need. And with my history with the business, and I think that it's a family business as well. My mom owns the business, so it naturally just started falling on my shoulders, which I was happy to do. But I really felt like a fish out of water. I felt like I was, doing the best that I could, but we were definitely engaging our lawyer a lot because I wanted to make sure that we weren't making any mistakes along the way. It's improved greatly because I love that I can just, send a quick message to Neil. Neil is our HR specialist. And I can just send him a message and he'll get back to me quickly. It'll be a very simple question like, okay, I don't know, the simplest thing that I know it's simple, but I don't know what the answer is. It's something that I don't want to have to call our lawyer about and wait to set up a meeting and then get charged $250 to give me a quick answer. So it's really comforting for me to know that, when we're moving forward, either with a new hire or unfortunately, in cases where we've had to terminate or, when we're rewriting our handbook, that sort of thing, knowing that there's a professional who's right there able to answer my questions very quickly. It's been a real game changer. It's definitely been very helpful to me and just put me at ease with that aspect of my job, so I can actually focus on what I'm really here to do. So what I liked about HR Covered is that it's like, we could pay for the services for an entire year upfront, and the price was very reasonable, I find, the pricing to be very reasonable. And so just knowing that we sort of had unlimited access for that amount of money just seemed like a no-brainer, because when you looked at our legal bills for basic HR things, it was wild. And so it was kind of a no-brainer for us to move to this sort of model. It's perfect for us as a small business because we don't have the need to hire a full-time HR professional. We don't have necessarily the budget to do that. Being a small business where we produce products, new hires tend to be people that actually are, physically helping us to produce that product. And so, or helping us to sell it. It's all about the revenue, right? And so, there wasn't a need to have a full-time HR person. But there's definitely, obviously, whenever you have a business, there's a need for some sort of HR, professional. And so it's really nice because it's like an ad hoc, like when we need it, we have it. When we don't need it, we don't have it. So it was the business model of it, the unlimited access over the course of the year is really what sold us on that. Well, the handbook alone, I wrote our handbook with help from a friend years ago, she's an HR director, and she helped me write our employee handbook, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. And it had been very minimally updated since then because I'm not up to date with all the, regulations and everything. And so I knew that was just this thing on my back that was constantly just felt like a weight that I knew I needed to. We've been growing, so we've been hiring new people, and I've been handing over this dated handbook just to say that we had the handbook, but really, I knew that it wasn't up to snuff, and it was something that I knew I couldn't ask my friend to help me with this because it was such a beast. I knew that to hire someone independently to just do the handbook was going to cost a lot of money. And so it just seemed like something that was always just on the back burner. But that alone, I mean, the initial sort of audit of our HR documents, it took about, a month tops to get them back. And they're just like, so comprehensive, laid out really, really well, very clear. And it's just like in a package that we can give to new hires and to our existing employees and update all of that information. So that alone has been a huge, huge value for us. So that would have taken me, I was anticipating that project was going to take me as a non-HR professional, probably, I don't know, 15, 20 hours to do, including all the research, and actually probably more than that, including all the research that I would have to do to create that document. And then I'd have to send it to the lawyer to make sure that it was all good. So, hours and hours and hours and hours it saved me for sure. Probably, I don't know, there's probably at least, we've only been with HR Covered since December of 2021, or November maybe. So it's really only been like 3 or 4 months, but in that 3 or 4 months, I would say, at least a couple $1,000s have been saved in legal fees. And that's just 2 to 3, 4 months in. It's probably more than that actually in legal fees, probably $2,000 to $3,000. Plus the cost of my time to create these documents. That's another, couple $1,000s there. So, we're definitely in the thousands of dollars range already. Neil's become my buddy. We just clicked right off the bat. I liked that he has sort of like this no BS approach to HR, which I appreciate because I find it, HR is a great thing and it's absolutely necessary, but there's a lot about it that can be very frustrating, especially as someone who doesn't, I'm not trained in it. That's not my experience. So I like how Neil just like cuts it right down to like, black and white as best as he can. HR is not all black and white. I thought it was, but he quickly taught me that no, there actually are a lot of gray areas, and navigating those, that's the really tricky part. But yeah, I would say dealing with Neil and just his quick response time, and he's got a great personality and we really get along well, and I can call him and complain about a situation that's happening, and he can help me navigate it. So I would say that's probably been the best part so far. Absolutely recommend HR Covered to others, especially, my experience has been with a small business. It's been absolutely priceless for us to have this. I had been saying all along, like, we need an HR consultant, but the HR consultants, they're very expensive. It was almost like, okay, well, we might as well just hire a junior HR person. And so it never really made sense. Like, it never really made sense. And as much as I've been grateful for having friends that are in the industry, in the HR industry, they're busy, they're working their full-time jobs. They don't have time to consult me on the side when really that's a service I should be paying for. And so, I would definitely recommend it. I can only speak as a small business. I could totally see how bigger organizations would also benefit from this if they don't, because not everybody has a HR department, and they should. And so there's probably a lot of bigger companies out there that don't have an HR professional that should. And this is a great way to sort of get started with that. So I could see as we grow, our need for we'll just grow. Our need for the services of HR Covered will continue to grow. It seems that, they'll be available to us when and if that happens. So yeah, I would absolutely recommend HR Covered. It's just been the cost savings, obviously, the quick response time, the answers to the multitude of questions. I don't know if I just happen to ask more questions than more people. I don't know, but I just feel like I constantly have just, it could be a very complicated situation, or it could be a very simple situation. Like, when is the best time of the week or of the day to terminate somebody, which it's a horrible thing to think about, but unfortunately it's part of doing business. Or it's when is the best time to give someone an offer? How much time should we give them to review it? All of those sorts of things. What exactly is good to have in a job description, or how do you write a good job posting? Like, all of these things that for a seasoned HR professional are sort of like second nature. They could just answer very quickly. And so, I would definitely recommend to any organization, small or large. I would just say you need it. Unless you have an HR person working for you full-time or part-time, depending on the size of your organization, you need it. It's important to be protected as an employer. It's important for employees to have their rights recognized on a daily basis at work. It's important to know what is okay and what is not okay as an employer. It's important. It's important that your documents are in order. It's important that you're clear with the people that work for you. It's definitely, I would just say it's important. And if you're not putting it as a priority, then it's a bit of a it's a risk. It's a risk that you're taking as a company. And with something like HR Covered, with an organization like HR Covered, it's not that it's a big expensive undertaking. You can use HR Covered and have them there for you when you have those questions come up, or when you have these documents come up, and it's just done. You don't have to worry about with a consultant, their time, their availability, their fees, all of that. And also, it's going to save you a lot in legal fees at the end of the day. don't think so. I mean, so far, all I can say is that I feel like a weight has been lifted off me. I feel like I fell into this role of managing the HR of the business. I didn't want to, but the need was there. And, you know, I've been with the company for so long, it just naturally fell on my shoulders. And, you know, and I was happy to do what I could to cover that aspect of the business. But it never felt totally right because I didn't really know what I was doing. And now I've got, you know, HR covered there. It's been a huge weight off me. It's been a weight off our owner. It's been a weight off all of the management at our organization. And I mean, the value has been really great. It just makes total sense for us. Anyway, we're a team of only about 10 people, and growing, and it makes sense. It makes sense for us. It's been great.